Welcome, everybody. I forgot about that dramatic countdown at the end there, that 3, 2, 1. Anyway, welcome, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are coming to us in the world from. We are super excited today. I'm Frank Corva. I will be joined today by two guests. The first, the one and only Dimas Surya AlFaruq, Bitcoin Indonesia co-founder, a man who wears many hats in the Bitcoin the Bitcoin community in Indonesia, does incredible work. So I'll be joined by Dimas as well as Dea Rezkitha, Fedi Southeast Asia Community Master. So if we can, let's bring Dimas and Dea on and get this party started. There we go. There's Dimas.
Hi, Frank.
How are we doing, sir? How are you?
Amazing. Thank you for inviting me.
The pleasure is all ours. And can we bring Dea on as well? Is that possible? Or there she is. Dea is coming to us. I think, are you in Thailand right now, Dea? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I'm in
Okay.
Thailand at the moment. Yeah.
So she's on the road, making it happen anyway. We appreciate that. That's the Fedi spirit. Thank you so much, Dea. Dimas, I gave you a brief introduction, calling you the co-founder of Bitcoin Indonesia. I know that's maybe the easiest way to introduce you, but you do so much. So maybe you could give an introduction about yourself and some of the things that you're involved in.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Dea, for the invitation. My name is Dimas. Yeah, like Frank said. What I do in Indonesia is basically we try to educate as much Indonesian as possible about Bitcoin, not in terms of trading, but also financial sovereignty and also freedom, and also how to fight the financial suppression and everything. So this is what we do now in Indonesia. So more or less.
Amazing stuff. Thank you, Dimas. And Dea, maybe just a quick overview of your role. So usually I have a community master on with me. This is Dea's first time joining here. So let's introduce Dea to our wider community spaces audience here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dea Rezkitha. I'm the community master for Southeast Asia, which means my role is to engage and support with different communities on the ground to using Fedi to understand what is their current needs and how Fedi can help them to grow their community and make their community bigger and more connected.
Amazing. Appreciate that, Dea. Dea was just in Japan. She's now in Thailand. She bounces around a lot. So really exciting stuff. Dimas, I want to start with you. I posted something yesterday on LinkedIn talking about how this is my job. I speak with Bitcoiners from around the world all day, and very infrequently does a story catch my attention the way that your story did. So your story starts back in 2016, I think early 2016. And I was hoping maybe you could just give us a brief recount of what it was like to first find Bitcoin and then sort of follow your heart to doing the work that you do, which is predominantly Bitcoin education.
Right. Thank you, Frank. So yeah, that's right. I started in 2016. At the time, I was still living in Leipzig in Germany. And I was like thinking, is this it? I mean, like is this the life? I mean, for most of Indonesians, this is the life, because many people dream to come to Germany, because one of our president studied and lived in Germany for many years. So I achieved that dream, but I felt empty. So, but then during that time, I felt that as Indonesian living in Germany, at some point you are not allowed to go further into the career ladder. So I was looking ways how can I improve more, and then that's why I found Bitcoin. So at that time. And then from there, I just continue my journey, including I get a hack, I get a phishing attack. I get phishing attack at the time. I learned the hard way.
I'll clarify there. So I had spoken with Dimas already. So yes, like many people who first find Bitcoin/crypto, I think Dimas, you mentioned you had I think a diversified portfolio was the way you put it, and then I think it was EOS, if I'm not mistaken. Some of the tokens you own got hacked. And then a lot of the other ones, from what you told me, I think went down in price significantly, especially compared to Bitcoin. So I think learning the hard way is often what happens when people get into the broader array of altcoins. I think that's the nice word for them, right? So I just leave it.
Yeah, it's true. But then what brings me back to Indonesia is mainly family and also COVID. So then during the COVID time, I knew that every government. I mean, like at 20, it'll be like my 4th year into Bitcoin world. Right? I really know about the problem about inflation, money printing, and yeah, the social problems come from it. So we decided, okay, let's go back to Indonesia, and then let's start something new, right? To raise family, to be close with family, and yeah, and then I think it turns out to be a good bet, because we can see now Germany is like this, having social, financial, and also like a government problem, like compared to Indonesia is I think much better here, I think, in my opinion. And yeah, and also why we are doing, I was thinking about Bitcoin and want to educate as many people as possible about Bitcoin, because I can see that Bitcoin is the way. Bitcoin is hope. Bitcoin is freedom. So, and it's and the culture here also, they can also attest to that. The culture is much very yeah. I think we are lucky, because no one haven't done what we do in terms of education. So the normal education landscape in Indonesia basically about trading, about how to go degen, right? 100x leverage, and then yeah, and then what we do is just like slow down. What is the problem? Think, and then yeah, start from there. Something like this. This is what we try to achieve.
Amazing. I like when people are encouraging people to think. I think that's really important. I just wanted to have you sort of join in there. Part of that story involved meeting you, I think in 2023, if I'm not mistaken, while you were organizing the Bitcoin Indonesia conference. Maybe you could speak to that a little bit if you don't mind.
Yeah, prior to joining Fedi, I organized several Bitcoin conference, in Bitcoin Indonesia conference. Like many other people, COVID is the wake up call for Bitcoin, and me with other people are very inspired to run a conference. But before, in 2021, we do it online. We did it online, and then in 2023 we want to do it in person, the first in person conference. And yeah, I was in the mission to find my team to bring some of the best people, and people who are very inspired to do stuff with Bitcoin. And I found Dimas, and I contacted Dimas. I remember I had my first call with him, and I asked him, hey, do you want to be part of the team? And he said yes. And it was really the conference took like almost a year to organize, and we learned a lot from each other's. And yeah, we bring, I think most of the team of the Bitcoin Indonesia come from that conference, which is for me, I really love the way that attending this type of event really inspired people to do great things. And what the Bitcoin Indonesia team is doing is like beyond what I can do back in the day. Like what I think what Dima said, a lot of education in Indonesia is primarily focusing on trading, but Bitcoin Indonesia people have a different mission. Like they really want to make people to be, self-sovereign. The Indonesian people like to, yeah, to get their financial independence, to get freedom. So yeah, I really like and really support what these guys are doing. Great things. Yeah.
Love
Thank you,
that.
Dea.
Yeah, appreciate that. And I love that part of the story when he told it to me, that that's how you guys met when you were working on that conference. It was a fun connection. I want to go to maybe the early days of Bitcoin Indonesia now, Dimas. So I think Bitcoin Indonesia starts as a website, if I'm not mistaken, a website and an Instagram account. And it's evolved into much more than that. So maybe you could just give us a brief history of the organization.
Yeah, like Dea said, we all met during the conference. At that time, I was volunteering with Dea, organizing conference, and then I met another two co-founders, three co-founders, Diana, Marius, and Kiplab. They are also helping the conference. But then after the conference, we gathered, right. We because I live in Germany for many years, and two of them are basically Germans. They become Germans. They want to live in Bali. And we met, and we just like clicked, right, in frequency. And during our discussion, the Marius, I think, that time asked question, why, if I ask about find or try to find information about Bitcoin, yeah, there's only one paragraph, and then people start. Then the paragraph will say, okay, buy my shitcoin. So this is another project, interesting project, and that is. So why not we start something focused on Bitcoin only? Because we can see this is growing very fast. And another reason why we want to start this movement is because like having a conference is very good, right? It's for so fun, so great. We met a lot of people, networking and everything. But at the same time, it's just become an echo chamber, right? So a Bitcoiner will tap another Bitcoiner back, and that's it. After the conference, yeah, you have like a deja vu for 2-3 days, and then after this, nothing happened, nothing really changed, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, that's why we said, okay, why not try to do conferences every day, but mini conferences. That's why what started our meetups. So the first thing is the meetups one. We started in one in Bali, and then come to Bandung where I stay, and also in Jakarta, and then also where Lapis, and slowly all this meetup requires support. That's why when we built the websites, we translated everything, because all the information that we have in local languages, it's not enough. It's only come from the crypto exchanges, which is only like very basic, basically saying like Bitcoin is a pet rock, it's dinosaur, buy my new coin, something like this. And yeah, that's from the websites. And we realize Indonesians love Instagram, so we try to build the Instagram. So maybe there are questions that people ask: how can we do all of this? I think first of all, we are all very passionate in what we do, and also all the co-founders are coming from different backgrounds and very specialized. So for my side, I think my biggest strength is networking. I think I know quite a lot of people because was working in the crypto exchange before. I know the landscape. And Diana is the other co-founders. She is genius in designs, in Instagram, in social media. And Marius is genius in the websites and also like basically Bitcoin house and everything. So, and yeah, that's why we want to do this. And it turns out when we started doing meetups and then we built websites, we create a space for everyone to join. We found another Bitcoiners. And the one problem about Bitcoiners is they often felt lonely, right? They felt alone, and they often felt misunderstood, and then they often people think they are crazy. Yeah, and that's why when we started we create Bitcoin Indonesia, we say that this is the ultimate hub for Bitcoin adoption. So everyone can come here, and you are not crazy. So so you can contribute. So that's why one by one. That's why our meetups grow so fast, because we found Bitcoiners very passionate, very intelligent, and also already proved themselves, and then already established themselves. And they volunteer. This is like, I cannot do it alone. I cannot do it out. There's only 3 of us now, right?
Yeah.
We cannot conquer Indonesia with just 3 people. So we need a lot of people to help us. So that's why.
Understood. Yeah, Dea, I
And
want
what
to
I
go.
think,
Yeah, please.
yeah, and what I think is very cool with the Bitcoin Indonesia is that they open source everything. So like when it comes to meetup, they create a kit where people can just like, hey, you want to run a meetup in your city? This is how you do it. Um,
Mm,
so I think that's something a bit different from the type of community movement that I see in Southeast Asia. Like a lot of people are doing it, by themselves, and they tend to see like, oh yeah, this is the let's say this is like a big country community, but it's actually like just little individual effort in their own city. Whereas like in Bitcoin Indonesia, they provide resources and platform to connect. So that's why they can grow so big in a very short time.
that was my question. So I wanted a little bit more insight on that. I saw the map of the 40 different meetups that happen monthly, not yearly, the 40 different meetups that happen monthly. And then Dimas, there was recently an event where people, and we're going to get to that, where people could spend their sats at a market. I was on a weekend, and Dimas was like, yeah, we want to do 50 more of those events this weekend. And in my mind, I'm like, 50 more, I'm sorry, this year, like 50 more of these events. Like, how does that happen? But I think the only way that happens is, as Dea said, you have to basically hand the reins over to other people, give them a blueprint, give them the open source instructions, and allow them to do that. Dimas, I think sometimes people talk about this, making things decentralized, how good open source software is, but I think it's harder to really live it and to incorporate it into what you do. What would you say to that? I'm imagining on a certain level, it's kind of harder because you have to make sure everything is very clear for everyone. Maybe on another level, it's a bit easier because you don't have to be the person responsible for everything. So what has it been like incorporating this philosophy into every facet of what you do?
I mean, first of all, you just need to find the correct people and then the correct philosophy. And second, you have a structure. So because I live in Germany, I think this is one of the German culture influenced me, and also the Marius and Diana. So we are very like structured. So every year, every January, we have this big meeting where we want to discuss what we want to achieve this year, and then we go to month by month, and then we start to breaking down what is the milestone and everything. So we are very structured on that. And also, yes, true, we open source everything. And the other thing is like we have to become very transparent, and also like social media play a huge role for the people. So for those who are listening in, who doesn't know about Indonesia, not much, maybe just first time they've heard about Indonesia. Indonesia is huge. Indonesia has like 280 million people, and in the map, maybe it's just like a tiny island, but it's like the island from the Aceh, from the east, from the western part of Sumatra to the Papua. It's like if you go from London to Istanbul, this is how big it is, Indonesia. So and in every island we found people who are very passionate, very dedicated, and because we open source everything, we create guidebooks, we have monthly call with the leaders. So one of our assets, I think the biggest assets, is like we have community leaders. So where we yesterday we just have a call of monthly call with community leaders where we share, we ask questions, and every once a year, I think they also last year also, we have this summit of community leaders, and we just basically gather and then find people. I think this is one of the factors where we want to why we are growing quite fast. And another thing is that because I think the timing is right 2023 before the halving, and then after the halving the attention is quite huge. So basically this is now our first bear market, and then we pray that we can continue until the next halving.
A quick question on that. I wasn't expecting to get to this, but I do think it's important. So everyone thinks you're a genius when you teach them about Bitcoin and the price is going up. Everybody tends to get a little bit disappointed. That's a nice way to put it, when the price is going down. What is that like to deal with? So we are in a bear market. This is your first time as an organization dealing with that. Is it challenging? And in what ways is it challenging?
It is challenging in a ways that the numbers of meetup participants that coming. Normally we have in every city we have at least 5 to 10 to 15 people in every cities, and now during the bear market we are sometimes only 2-3 people. So but then again, how do we overcome the challenges? We just need to have more higher quality meetups. For example, now since we have a partnership with Fedi, we can invite more people. We can ask people. I mean, we can provide free drinks or free food, something like this for the meetups, and then it should become like a sweetener for people to come. But the most important thing is like the announcement, the social media, and also the meetup quality. It's not and the people who, I believe we still have a lot of people who's coming to the meetup. They are the one who really understand, and I think the key is like education. The key is education, and one of our biggest education tools is like my first Bitcoin curriculum that we taught everyone, and then we have more than 500 alumni now, and then this really create a secondary third effect on how we can maintain this. So hopefully we can still continue to do this.
Amazing. Yeah, I was just thinking, I go to BitDevs in New York every month and they have pizza there. So food does help. I think that is good sweetener. I always enjoy that. So thank you, BitDevs, and thank you, Dimas and team. Let's talk a little bit about the partnership with Fedi. You came up with this really ingenious model, which is what you call a closed loop model, and this is essentially a way for people to use Fedi, which is eCash. So if you're using Fedi within the Fedi system, the government is okay with that in Indonesia. And this is something you first tried out in Bali, but then in 2024, I think, when you went to the office of the vice president and you spoke with some of the powers that be, they said, okay, good, this works for us. And since then, Fedi has been the go-to tool for Indonesians who want to transact with Bitcoin. Can you speak a little bit more to this? And this is for Dimas and to Dea, because I think this is like just totally genius. First, if you could give an overview of what this closed loop model, what it means, the way you pitched it, and then also basically the way that you've implemented it and used Fedi as a tool to help implement it.
Yeah, as per Indonesian law, you are only allowed to use Indonesian rupiah, our own currency, to transact. Any other currency, including dollars, euros, and everything, is deemed illegal. So that's why you can go to jail for this, right? But in 2014, maybe they was there, right? There is an OG in Bitcoin. They all knew that Bali is a Bitcoin island. So this is the idea come from. So Marius and Diana, who lives in Bali, they want to revive this dream, the Bitcoin islands, the dream. So that's why they asked me find ways to make this dream happen. So since we are passionate, and I was asking a friend of mine, my lawyer, and then he came up with this closed loop system, which what basically means, like, if you think Bitcoin not as a currency, but also like just like a points, the community points, for example, like Starbucks, or like, I don't know, air miles, like, I don't know, credit card points, something like this. This is allowed, and this is and people use it all the time. So something like this now. And when I had the idea, wow, this is amazing. And then we start to find tools, what tools can help us. And then that time she works with Fedi, and then we heard about Federation, and then we kind of started from there, just slowly from Bali in the beginning as a testing ground, and then to this year, I think we want to expand to more cities and to more, bring it national wide. So talking about the vice president office thing, actually, I got a phone call from the office because one of my friends works there, and then he wants to know. He knew that I work in Bitcoin because I was always pestering him with, hey, this is Bitcoin, this is Bitcoin, always Bitcoin like this. Like I was trying to orange peel him, right? And then I just come to the office and then present it, right? And then when I presented it, basically he is surprised. The reaction is surprised because he only knew Bitcoin exists only in exchanges. It can only be traded. He doesn't know that you can save, you can send, you can, I don't know, you can bring your Bitcoin self-custody. He didn't know that. So that's why when we do this Fedi and closed loop, he's very excited. But still, this is politics. We got too viral at the time, and then we have to maintain some distance since then. But slowly we are coming back to we are in discussion right now to educate more than 100 schools all across Indonesia about this technology, about Bitcoin, Fedi, and about Bitcoin, basically education.
Amazing. Appreciate that, Dea.
So yeah, if I can add related to the closed loop system, I think what makes Fedi is unique is because the community actually is the one who custody the Bitcoin, right? It's not like we are not how do you say, like a community is not using like a foreign exchange or something, or like foreign service for that. They are the one who holds the funds, and they also have the ability to whether make the federation public or semi-private or private, which means it's the same kind of principle like when you join when you're using, or sorry, when you download an app like for Starbucks app, and you get the points, you have to join the Starbucks ecosystem. And in Fedi, because of these federation models, uh, you can actually join like the federation, the semi-private federation that Bitcoin Indonesia has created. So people joining it in a very, it's like an exclusive membership. Um, in this sense, it is considered to be like a closed loop system. And when it comes to the language, also there's a bit difference. It's not like buying Bitcoin or buying stuff with Bitcoin or paying with Bitcoin. We are redeeming items with Bitcoin or Sats in this sense. So language also very matters in a closed loop system, and there are several or like requirements, like what kind of things that can be considered to be closed loop system. And I think um, Bitcoin Indonesia, with the help of the lawyer, like really focusing on making sure that they are complying to like the regulation is talked about.
Amazing. Appreciate that. I appreciate that extra dimension to it. I actually didn't know that. So that's really interesting. Dimas, when you came up with this idea for the closed loop system, I think it was a lawyer friend of yours that maybe recommended it. Did it need to be refined at all? Like you had the idea and then maybe people said, well, you kind of have it right, but you have to try this or do that. And then how did it just work that Fedi had already created something that was a perfect fit for that? Or how did you work it all out so that everything became copacetic?
Yeah, so the concept came from the lawyer, and then we created the white paper, and then we scan what tools can we use. And I think that time we are quite lucky. We have Dea, and then who help us, and then she works in Fedi, and she introduced it to the federation system. So because actually this concept is not new. In Indonesia, we have this called the co-op. I think where a village can create a co-op or like a community bank, right? And they just with community bank they can issue many things, and just it works for the community. So using that is, yeah, I think that's why. And there are some challenges and some challenges, yeah, in the beginning, because we are scared. Is it like, because there's no regulation about this. There's no regulation about this, and then we just creating a trend. So we are working in gray area. That's why when we met more people, we met more members who works in the government. We works in the apa, in the justice, yeah, in the justice department. We try to bring up this white paper, and then they look at it, and then they actually solve it. So yeah, that's why we are quite confident now to use it, even though we are not promoting it in our Instagram. But if you come to the meetups, you will know about closed loop and about Fedi.
Got it. Okay. Understood. Very exciting stuff. One of the things that you've given people in the many communities within Indonesia the opportunity to do is spend some sats at a market. So you did this SatsTurday Market. I think it was in early February of this year, where I think it was people from 15 or 16 different communities, Bitcoin communities in Indonesia, were able to come to, I think it's Bandung. Please tell me if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly or correctly. And they were able to spend some sats. And I know that Dea, you were there for that event as well, or maybe someone AI superimposed you into a picture, but I think you were there. I saw a picture of you there. So yeah, we had this Bitcoin Indonesia SatsTurday Market happening in February. I'll start with Dea here. What was that like? What were maybe some of the pain points? What did you have to teach people about to get them to fully understand it? Was using Fedi relatively easy for people, etc.?
Yeah, I found it very cool concept because normally when you do this type of lightning market, you just invite Bitcoiners to spend their sats. But we when Bitcoin Indonesia proposed this idea, it was very genius because the market is down. It's probably it's bear market at the moment, and but community activity is very active. Like not only just like Bitcoin community, but like other communities. So like they decided to invite like 16 different communities. There are people who with the sign language community or craft community, any other communities that probably doesn't talk about Bitcoin, but we give them a platform where they can sell their products. They can pitch their ideas about their community in this event called SatsTurday Market. And in the market itself, I think there is like around 10 to 12 different vendors who participated and then sell their products in that they're that create. Uh, what I found very interesting for them, it's using Sats is like using any type of e-money payment. Like there's a lot of Gen Alpha people, like really young people who come to the event, and they're really excited to use Bitcoin. They know that, oh, I actually got Bitcoin inside of this wallet, and I'm going to spend it. And I can see the energy and people excitement when they see, oh, it's actually really fast. Like the transactions is the same things like we have our QR payment system, like our national QR payment system, and people are using it on the day-to-day basis. And now they say it, oh, you can also do the same thing with Bitcoin. The onboarding part, it wasn't that complicated. Like people download it and immediately spend it. And what I also see that the behavior, some of the merchants was really excited that, oh, now I have Bitcoin and I want to keep it, I want to save it. So there is already, uh, I don't think, I think the difference between maybe in 2021 and up until now, people in Indonesia are slowly starting to understand the value of Bitcoin. Even though it's still probably seen as a store of value narrative, but the more we introduce it to them, the like they will immediately keep it. Like they think it is valuable, more valuable than the local currency. So yeah, I really support this event, the Saturday market, and Bitcoin Indonesia has a big ambition to do it in different cities, and I think it's very replicable because what I found very cool is that you bring other people together. It's not only just Bitcoiners. You bring other communities, and then they get in touch with Bitcoin, and then they get interested. And there's a lot of intersection when we talk about money, when we talk about inflation. People can relate with that.
Amazing. I'm glad to hear people are saving. That's really, really exciting that they get that so, I guess, intuitively or so quickly. It's great to hear. Yeah, Dimas, your takeaways from SatsTurday Market?
Yeah, so people maybe people are asking, maybe not quite asking, but I just want to explain why we call it SatsTurday Market. It's basically a play word with Saturday, but actually basically want to say you can set your day,
Love it.
in market. So
Let's go.
this is day that you can use your sats to make your day, something like this. And then they are says it's right. We want to educate people, and then we around 400 people came for that part. And why we are focused, we are not exclusively on Bitcoin only, but we want to reach to other communities because we can see that forgot my turn of thought. Okay, we can see that everyone is affected by the same inflation, by the loss of purchasing power. But having this market together is very powerful, and then that's why slowly we want to bring this to for everyone. So yeah.
Amazing. Appreciate that. Sats your day. I missed that actually. So I appreciate the fact that you explained that as well. But I do like the play on words, and I like that kind of stuff was happening there. Very, very exciting stuff. And I think that one of the themes I'm taking away from this more so than the first time I spoke, and I think it's really important to highlight, is this idea of trying to involve different communities and also not just, being around other Bitcoiners, giving each other, saying, oh, aren't we so great? Isn't this so great? You're not really expanding the circle. You're not really having Bitcoin serve its purpose of whether it's savings technology for people or medium of exchange, whatever it is. It's not really fulfilling that role when it's just the same people using it, transacting back and forth. It is to some degree, but there's obviously far more potential. And I think that the work that you and Dea are doing, it needs to be highlighted because it's not easy work to do. It's, money is generally speaking a sensitive topic for people. So to be the person who talks with them about money, introduces them to a new form of money, a new system like Fedi, this stuff is very difficult because it's not like you just explain it once and then everybody gets it and their lives are better. There's a million questions. Dea's face is like, oh, don't I know? So yeah, Dimas as well there. I could see by the smile on his face. So I always feel that it's important to highlight what you're doing because I was a teacher for 12 years and I know what it's like to constantly be, it's like, didn't I teach this already? Didn't I say this already? But it's just not how human beings are. And that's fine. I ask people technical questions about Bitcoin all the time, people who know more than me, and I probably ask similar things, but I'm just trying to figure it out. And that's what both of you are helping them do. But I think a really big thing is that more than at a meetup where sometimes it's theoretical, you're discussing maybe some news or you're teaching someone something, SatsTurday Market felt like a way to really get people to have that aha moment. Like as you said, there's already a QR system in Indonesia. There's already a QR code system. And so they're like, oh, I do this with other money. So this is very comparable to that. To get that experience and then to just be like, oh, okay, that's it. Like that's all it is. That's all Bitcoin is. Because I think what most people know, Dimas, is what you said, which is it's on an exchange. I gotta go KYC, AML. I gotta go do this thing. I just traded. When it's like, no, that's actually, it's much easier than that. A question for you, Dea, is that when people talk about saving, do they end up just saving within the Fedimint layer, or are you teaching them how to maybe move to a cold storage sort of situation? What is that process like?
Well, custody is a spectrum, Frank. Like, it depends on like how much money that you hold and what is the purpose of that money. Like, are you going to use that money for your grandchildren, your next generation, or are you thinking about storing it for short terms that you want to spend it? So of course, like we teach people Fedimint and Fedi is just one of an alternative for custody that is much better than the third party custody, because you are custodying it with the community that you know instead of custodying it with some third party that you don't know, right? So especially with the community custody, it's very useful when you want to use it on a day-to-day basis, you want to spend it. So when people are trying to save it, I would definitely talk about something like this, like how much money that you want to spend, how much money that you want to save, and what is this purpose for? Like if you want to, oh yeah, like I want to use it, and then at some point, like I want to, buy gift card or using it for when I'm travel, then I would say like sure, like save it on Fedi, because on Fedi we have the mini apps catalog, like you can find different um, services and website where you can spend your Bitcoin. But like let's say, oh yeah, I have a lot of money in here and I want to save it for longer uh,
Longer
generation, then
term? Yeah.
obviously like self custody is always the yeah the way.
Sure. Yeah, understood. Appreciate that. That's really helpful. I want to also, I should have mentioned this earlier. We are going to take some questions from the audience. So please leave a note in the chat under this post on X. Excuse me. If you have any questions or any comments as well, we appreciate love as well. Just positive comments. We like the positive energy. So please feel free to drop that in the chat. I'm just going to follow up with Dimas in regard to that question, and then we'll go over to some questions from the community. So Dimas, same question. When it comes to teaching people, there's what Fedi is, and then there's a billion different types of self custody. After that, you could be using a hot wallet that's also a self custody wallet that's a hot wallet. You could be using a cold wallet. How do you sort of gauge when and how to have that conversation with people?
I think it's a process. In the beginning, we always in the community we always say that don't leave Bitcoin on your exchanges, and then the next step is just learn how to self custody via mobile wallet. So this having Fedi, having some eCash or having some assets on Fedi wallet is much better than leaving it on the exchange, something like this.
Okay.
But for certain people, this is not enough. Then that's why we have these technical meetups in doing our how to do better. And and also another challenges in the beginning of I think 2 years ago. It's hard to get a hardware wallet because you have to buy it from Europe, and oftentimes customs will just take it away from you, and you will not receive the stuff, or they will tax you like twice the price of the hardware wallet. So people are discouraged basically to self custody.
Okay.
That's why. And but then with having a mobile wallet like Fedi and also another mobile wallet, this is the in between way people to self custody. But you're right. So if people want to learn about self custody, there are rabbit holes where you don't just start with one wallet. You will end up with 100 wallets and different setups, and then everything's just as a question about how secure you want to be, and then how is your convenient level. So the more secure is not convenient. So, but it's not for everyone. What we always advocate is try to secure it by yourself, but how it's up to them. So you can say.
Okay. Yeah, give them the options and allow them to figure that out. That's really interesting though with customs though. The more conversations I have with people around the world, it's like it's for all the Bitcoiners out there who can do something as simple as just getting a hardware wallet. Don't take this stuff for granted. It's really important. There's it's a shame to hear that it can be so difficult, but I appreciate the fact that you're offering people other options as well. And obviously Fedi being one of those options where you can hold it for a longer period of time. I'm seeing some love come in the chat. Umi, always a pleasure to have Umi with us. She says she's taking notes on Bitcoin Indonesia to implement in Nigeria. This is my favorite part about Bitcoin. Someone in Nigeria can learn from someone in Indonesia. Super, super exciting. But let us bring up some questions and comments here so that the audience can see them as well. So to our producer, if we want to have that first question pop up, that would be fantastic. And I think he's just got to get that prepped. So let's just give him a second to do that. It should pop up underneath there. And again, anyone listening, there's still time to leave a question or a comment, but let's start with the first one here. So how did you grow and engage your community to be as big as it is now? I'll go with Dimas there. I think I remember you saying something about Instagram, but were there some other big methods by which you sort of got messages out there and helped grow the community?
Yeah, so social media play a huge role. So Twitter, and then also the Instagram, and also the ability to connect with other people. So we started with the conference in 2023, right? We met some speakers like Anita Posch, for example, and then we met Jimmy Costro. When the people from there, we just build relationships, and then from there, we get to know people. We get more connection, and also reaching out through social media. Basically, we find lonely Bitcoiners, right? Lonely Bitcoiners, misunderstood Bitcoiners. They want to be part of something, and then we just provide the platform. We just provide the tools, and then we open source, and then that's why we are so lucky we found them. So it's not like we pay them. We just they are volunteered. Until now, during the bear market, they are the most passionate, most hardworking people that I know. So I'm humbled to be working alongside with them. So
amazing. Yeah, appreciate that. I think that's it. Sometimes you don't have to think about it too much. It's old school, right? You build relationships, you maintain those relationships, you find people out there who are passionate about this and want to contribute on some level. And I think there are many of those people out there. I think it's not underestimating the fact that there are people that really want to be a part of a community and want to feel understood because they understand this thing, Bitcoin, that so few people in the world truly understand. Maybe they've heard about it, or maybe they own some and have it on an exchange, but most people don't have that depth of understanding. And I think that there are more people out there than we realize, and it's good to tap into them. You've done a great job of that. I'll give that question to you too as well, Dea. You're constantly looking for different people to work with and to connect with. So how do you approach this?
Yeah, I think not very far from Dimas. Really cultivate your network, people that you meet from like a random meetup event, you still be in contact with that person, and then you just follow their what is what currently they're doing, and then like how we can work together. Because when you are in the Bitcoin space, what I found very inspiring with the Bitcoin movement is that everyone is actually very passionate on on this freedom tech. Like everyone is very passionate to um, yeah uh, to get more freedom, become more self-sovereign, and then give the opportunity and let other people know that this opportunity exists.
Yep.
So yeah, like we still connected, networking. Like this is what even though like I'm working at Fedi, Dimas working in Bitcoin Indonesia, like and let's say I went to a conference in Africa, I saw something that very interesting. I will tell them like, hey guys, like this is very interesting. This is what happened in Africa. This is the opportunity that has happened in Bitcoin space. You guys should do this. So it doesn't matter like what is your role. If you want to grow big, you have to grow together and taking notes, like what Umi is doing, taking notes and then share the notes.
Nobody takes notes better than Umi. Nobody. She is a master of that. We are lucky to have her here taking and sharing her notes. Thank you, Umi. Let's make some space for another question. I think we had a few of them, so I'll give our producer just a second to bring up the next question. To everybody else who's left a positive comment, Nihal, we love the rocket emojis. We're all about the rocket emojis. We appreciate that. And we have Mary leaving a comment. I don't know. Mary is supposed to be taking some time off, yet here she is leaving comments. How is this happening? I don't know how that's happening. Anyway, let's get to this question. How can I create a community on Fedi and make it interesting for people to join it? Dea, I have to pass this one off to you.
Yeah. Oh, it's very easy. Okay, so if if you download the Fedi app, if you download the Fedi apps and then you go to the home screen, that's your community space. There's the community page. You can create your own community, whether it is cat lover or whatever. In Fedi, we gave you the opportunity to customize your own experience, the experience for your community member. You can pin your um, chat groups, pin messages, and also pin important sites that you think is very valuable for your members. Very straightforward. Just go to the app and then click that plus button there, and then you can just create the community. But what's making it interesting for people to use it is, yeah, I guess to start using it, to start having conversation inside of the Fedi app, and also demonstrate to people like, hey, it's actually very easy for us to send and receive money, whatever you are. Even if you're in Nigeria, if you are in Indonesia, you can send money very easily. um, yeah, so it still takes some kind of effort in terms of engaging your members and make that conversation is going, but the platform is there, and you have the freedom to customize it and make it interesting for your member.
Yeah, I think also it's worth noting that it's also private. So versus doing this on, let's say, Telegram, which is not private, I don't know whether that's public. I think most of us understand that it's not private at this point. It's private. So if it's not, and again, it's just if you don't want more people seeing it than need to see it, Fedi's a great place to do that. It's a great thing. I think privacy tends to be something that a lot of people overlook, but it has a tremendous amount of value. And on the Fedi app, the same way you're starting a community, whether it's Facebook or any other traditional program, maybe there's a reason to do it over there, but understand that privacy dimension of Fedi, because I think a lot of people do value that. And it is a great way for people, maybe for even members of the community, to feel a little bit more comfortable expressing themselves. So yeah, great. Another feature of Fedi that I think is worth noting. I think we have two more questions from the community. So let me make a little bit more space for the next one here. Should be coming up in just a moment. All right. So I'm very interested in the closed loop system. What are the foundations you had to lay down to run the closed loop system in your community? I think that's fair. So my question there, I'm going to add to that if you don't mind. When it comes to, for example, like different people who were part of it, so like maybe Fedi Guardians or people who who are different members of the federation. Did you have to think about that, or sort of help facilitate that as well? So just as an extension to the question there, I'll give that one to Dimas.
All right. So the foundations we do, of course, first of all, we have to look the legal landscape in the country, and second, we create a white paper. So basically, we have the white paper of closed loop system, and then we stress test that white paper in the beginning, and then afterwards, you have to just try. Like Frank said, you don't have to wait so someone to build it. Just try to see it. If you break it, and then you can fix it. If you're not breaking, then just keep going. So this is what we are doing. So yeah, to answer, what was the question, Frank, about the leader thing, guardian
Yeah,
thing?
but I was asking too, did you have to set up different guardians to create the federation? Like, was there people that you had to designate to essentially be a part of creating it? How did that process work when you created your own federation? What was that like?
Oh yeah, in the beginning, of course, because Fedi is basically like federated system, so it requires some guardians. So we have guardians, but I don't know who they are, and then they just they are Bitcoiners, they are OG Bitcoiners, then so we just basically thankful for that, and then we just start using it. So
Cool.
yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, I think also that was a very profound statement. If you break something, you could fix it, and if you don't break something, just keep going. I think that's a philosophy we can all apply to life. So let's not think too much about things. Let's just give it a shot, and if we run into a hurdle, we can fix it if we need to. Let's make space for the final question here, and then I'll wrap it up with the final question for Dea and Dimas. Last question: love how vibrant the Bitcoin Indonesia community is, but what is Bitcoin adoption like in the rest of Asia? Okay. I got to give that one to Dea since this is her domain.
Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin Indonesia is one of the rising stars in Southeast Asia, but I feel like there are so many interesting movement also in different part of Asia. For example, like I'm in Thailand right now, and in Thailand, um, there's a big Bitcoin community, one of the most active, let's say, Bitcoin communities in Chiang Mai. They're going to run like a BitDev event soon, and also like conference. And they do like what I found very interesting in Asia is that they like to do event that is somehow is not Bitcoin related, but you can still mix Bitcoin in it. Like in Thailand, like they do marathon with Bitcoin theme.
Oh, cool, cool.
And
Yeah.
then there's a lot of like lightning market, this the same thing like SatsTurday Market, like introducing people um, and about Bitcoin, and in a market setting. This is also happening in Vietnam, in Japan, in South Korea. South Korea right now also very growing. They have many communities that create their own um, hardware wallet or devices for Bitcoin, and people are very focused on like how to keep their Bitcoin safe. They also focus on yeah, like basically protecting their wealth from inflation, because many of these countries like uh, Indonesia, Vietnam, Thailand, like we run with high inflation lately. So the movement is there. People obviously educate, that like focusing a lot of on education part, even though sometimes it's been done by like one community or like multiple community at the same time. But of course, I think the challenge right now is to uh, you know keep the signal high, because in Southeast Asia, there's a lot of scam, and there's a lot of um, people who wants to get rich quick, trading. So the Bitcoin community here are very much like in the front run to do good education for the people, the students, and yeah, this is what I see right now as in terms of the trend.
Amazing.
So I have an idea if there, maybe I can run it to you. Well, maybe Fedi can have like a Fedi summit where for the Southeast Asia. You gather all of the Bitcoiners from all over from Southeast Asia, and we can all learn together and just focus on the solution. So it would be amazing to have that. We can do it in Bali, we can do it in Jakarta, I don't know where.
I say on the beach in Bali, and Frank is invited, and he enjoys
Of
that.
course.
That's what I'm thinking here.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe like live desk from Bali, where we have everything set up and we broadcast to the world.
Or somewhere in Bangkok, like in the Phuket or something like that.
Yeah, that works. That works for Frank. So Obi, if you're listening, I'm totally interested. Yeah, appreciate that. I appreciate the questions from the audience. Thank you to everybody who's tuning in. I just have a final question for Dimas and Dea. It's just, what does the future of Bitcoin adoption in Indonesia look like? What's next for Bitcoin Indonesia, for the work that Fedi is doing with Bitcoin Indonesia, and where would you like to see things go maybe a year from now, 2 years from now? I'll start with Dimas.
All right, so we have a lot of things back for this year. So, for example, we want to continue the education, the meetups, and especially with support of Fedi, we want to do more SatsTurday event, Fedi meetups. That's number one. The second one, we gonna do unconference. So we are partnering with My First Bitcoin. We're gonna do the first Asia's unconference on the 22nd of August. So everyone is invited to come. And then we're going to do the closed loop system with the community leader summit. After that, we gather people, and then what is big is like I said in the beginning, we are under we are under discussion with the vice president office that we run 100 schools education, like a workshop for 3 days, 5 days, all across Indonesia, national wide. So it's going to be a huge project also, and at the same time we want to reach to more people, like with Fedi, with the help of Fedi, we want to adopt more merchants, and we want to create what I mentioned in the article, create a supply chain. Everyone is using Fedi, and that in the end, we will help people. So we want, because I can see that the direction of Indonesia going, we will have the inflation will going high, so high, and then the purchasing power will be like, it's gonna be like so we destroyed. So I only see Bitcoin as the hope, and then we are working hard to achieve that dream together.
Amazing, appreciate that. Dea?
Yeah, like what Dimas mentioned, it's about like how Fedi can support like this big dream of a Bitcoin circular economy. Not only just like, hey, I come and spend my set in this cafe, but like really creating an economy based on community, where every community members, producing something, and each of the members can get that service or product within the community, so that become a very independent and sovereign community, right? Like what Dimas mentioned in the article, like imagine if you have a cafe that's paid in SAT, and then it's being sourced with a coffee bean by someone also from the community members outside in Aceh who selling the coffee bean. And like at the end of the day, you create this supply chain, you create a very um, um, yeah, like from the beginning until the end, all this the Bitcoin circular economy that is based on the community. So that's like the big dream, or like what Fedi is hoping for by supporting the Bitcoin Indonesia. So hopefully the yeah, like we continue supporting them. They are very much a important partner for Fedi at the moment.
Yeah,
Thank you, Dea.
That's an understatement. Thank you. I can't think of a better word right now off the top of my head, but important, I think, is a very, very, very important word, if you will. Yeah, I think that's a good word to describe the work that Dimas and his team are doing. Umi, we have another note in the chat. She said the problems that Dea mentioned are also ones that we face here in Nigeria, especially with the issue of scams and people wanting to make quick money. And I think that what's important about what Umi is saying, I have conversations like this, like I said, day in, day out. And yeah, so this is a global, I think, issue. We're sort of dealing with people's psychology that's been injured a little bit by the fact that many people have been duped by scams, or they think Bitcoin itself is a scam. and it's a lot. So there's a lot of unlearning that needs to happen for people to start learning what Bitcoin actually is. So I appreciate you bringing that up, Umi. It is really important to note. And I think one of the reasons we like having these conversations is so that people recognize, hey, the problem I'm experiencing for me here in New York, or Umi in Nigeria, or Dea and Dimas in Indonesia or Asia at large, it's the same problem that somebody 3,000 miles away or 5,000 kilometers away is experiencing. And that, I think, is what we're trying to hear. We're trying to bring people together to discuss solutions to that and different ways that people deal with it. And both Dea and Dimas have done an excellent job of this today. Just as a final thing, Dimas, where can people find you and Bitcoin Indonesia online? Where can they go to follow both?
Yeah, you can find us on our website, bitcoinindonesia.xyz, or on our Instagram, bitcoinindo21. Also, we are same tag in the in Twitter and X, and also in Primal and everywhere. So yeah. And one last thing, maybe if you like what we do and then you want to support us, we are open for this kind of support, because we are non-profit and we cannot do it without the support of everyone, without the support of Bitcoin communities.
Amazing. Appreciate that. Thank you, Dimas. And Dea, where can we find you and Fedi online?
You can follow me on X at Dea Rezkitha, and obviously follow Fedi at Fedi BTC. You can find Fedi also on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and also check a lot of like cool resources in our website at fedi.xyz, and you can find like different blog posts and resources there.
This is true. Also, for those listening, please check out our YouTube page and subscribe. And if maybe you missed some of this talk and you want to go and watch it back on a different device, this will be posted to YouTube at the by early next week. So definitely check that out as well. Dimas, Dea, thank you so much, not only for your time, but for the work that you do. You're both inspirations to many around the world. The world, I think Asia will be different because of the work you're doing, obviously for the better, the incredible work that you're doing. Indonesia, yeah, as I said, Dimas, I very infrequently come across people who have had such a wide impact, you along with your team across the country, and the fact that you're open sourcing your materials and empowering people in the process only gives me more respect for what you're doing and what you've accomplished. So thank you so much to both of you for joining us. And yeah, I'm looking forward to Bitcoin Bali, Fedi, Southeast Asia conference. Again, Obi, if you're listening, we could do that sooner than later. And to hanging out with both of you in Indonesia. So, and thank you to our producer. We had somebody step in for the one and only Mary, but he has filled those shoes wonderfully. This has been a seamless and beautiful session. So thank you so much. And we'll be doing this again next Thursday, everybody. So take it easy. And until then, take it easy. We'll talk soon.